Have you ever sat in a room so quiet that the silence itself feels louder than any shout, yet somehow, within that silence, you hear a voice that speaks directly to your soul? This is the answer that speaks through silence. Many of us search for wisdom in noise, advice from friends, mentors, books, and even social media, but the deepest lessons, the ones that shape the core of who we are, often arrive not in words, but in moments where everything stops. Imagine a monk sitting beneath an ancient tree at the edge of a forest, the sun dipping low, painting the world in shades of amber and crimson. He doesn't speak, yet his presence alone teaches more than any sermon. His gaze, calm and unyielding, pierces through the clutter of your thoughts and reaches straight to your essence. The question is, are you ready to listen? Not with your ears, but with your awareness, your attention, your being. We live in a world that values the loudest voice, the flashiest display, the one who shouts the hardest. And, in chasing noise, we forget that answers are rarely shouted. They are whispered. They are subtle. They unfold in the pauses, in the spaces between our thoughts. Imagine standing by a still lake at dawn, the water perfectly smooth, reflecting the sky with uncanny clarity. A single ripple disturbs its surface. The ripple is subtle, almost invisible at first, yet it carries meaning. Just like that ripple, insight often arrives quietly, and only those who can remain still enough to notice it will understand. The monk knows this. He knows that silence is not emptiness. Silence is a canvas. It is the space where the mind's clutter is cleared, where reflection is unhindered, where the simple truths of existence reveal themselves. When I first encountered this lesson, I was desperate for answers. Life had left me with questions so heavy they pressed against my chest like stones. I asked the monk, "How do I find clarity? How do I make the right choices?" He did not respond. Not immediately. He simply gestured for me to sit beside him. For hours we sat, not speaking, watching the world move around us, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, the slow descent of sunlight into the forest. At first, I was frustrated. The mind rebels against silence. It craves action, explanation, certainty. But gradually, something remarkable happened. In the absence of words, I began to hear the unspoken. I began to see patterns, to feel rhythms, to recognize truths I had overlooked. The monk's silence was not a denial. It was an invitation to dive deep into the spaces where true understanding resides. Have you ever noticed how often we fill our lives with noise to avoid facing ourselves? Music, scrolling, talking, working endlessly. We are terrified of silence because in silence, we confront the raw, unfiltered version of who we are. And yet the answer, the clarity, the insight waits there patiently, like a hidden spring beneath a desert of distractions. The monk teaches that strength is not measured by the words you speak, but by the depth of your presence. Not by the answers you give, but by the questions you allow yourself to sit with. Imagine carrying a lantern through a dark tunnel. You can try to light every inch of the path ahead, but true guidance comes when you trust the light in your hand to illuminate only enough for the next step. The rest will reveal itself in due time. Silence is the lantern, and patience is the hand that holds it. In silence, the mind becomes a mirror. Have you ever looked into a mirror after waking up when your reflection is honest and unfiltered before you hide behind expressions and masks? That reflection can be uncomfortable. It can be revealing. It can be transformative. The monk doesn't tell you what to see. He simply allows you to see. And in seeing, you begin to understand the patterns of your fears, the roots of your desires, the subtle ways in which your thoughts shape your reality. He doesn't impose wisdom. He awakens it within you. Silence is the medium. Observation is the method. Awareness is the result. And suddenly, you realize that the answers you sought outside have always been waiting inside. The world was never withholding. You were simply not listening. Sometimes the silence is loud. Sometimes it's terrifying. Sitting alone with nothing to distract you, you may confront questions that shake you. Who am I? What do I truly want? What have I been avoiding all this time? Most people flee from these questions, chasing temporary relief. The monk stays. He knows that avoidance is the noise that keeps us blind. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is sitting with the fear in stillness until it no longer controls you. Think of a storm. At first it rages, furious and unyielding, threatening to uproot everything in its path. But eventually it passes. And if you have stood firm, if you have watched without panic, you will see the sky clear, the sunlight return, and the earth beneath you renewed. Silence is that space after the storm, a calm in which insight germinates. Have you ever wondered why children are often more attuned to the unspoken, to the subtleties of life, than adults? They are naturally present. They notice small gestures, fleeting expressions, the delicate shift in atmosphere that signals a truth unvoiced. As we grow, we learn to fill silence with chatter, to avoid stillness with distractions, to fear the absence of words. The monk teaches us to return to that childlike state of awareness, not naive, but deeply receptive. In silence, the mind softens, the heart opens, perception sharpens. And suddenly, life communicates with you directly, not through textbooks or lectures, but through experience, through observation, through presence. A leaf falls and it speaks of impermanence. A bird calls and it reminds you of freedom. A shadow moves and it reflects your own fleeting worries. Everything becomes meaningful because you are finally present enough to notice. There is a paradox here. Silence is powerful precisely because it seems empty. We equate speech with action, words with progress, noise with vitality. But think of the spaces between notes in a symphony. Without those pauses, the music loses meaning. Without silence, wisdom loses depth. The monk understands that the absence of sound does not equal the absence of truth. Silence amplifies it. It allows it to resonate. Imagine dropping a stone into still water. The ripples extend far beyond the point of impact, carrying a subtle energy that touches everything in its path. Your moments of reflection, your pauses, your willingness to sit with nothingness are like that stone. They create ripples in your consciousness that spread into every aspect of your life. And yet, silence is not a passive retreat. It is an active engagement with the present moment. The monk's lesson is not merely to stop talking. It is to start noticing. To observe your own thoughts without judgment. To feel the world around you without interference. To recognize the invisible currents that guide your decisions and emotions. Life is not always about action. Sometimes it is about receptivity. Sometimes it is about the courage to allow the world to teach you in its own language, to let the wind, the light, the shadows, the quiet moments speak the truths that words could never capture. In that space, you find alignment. You find clarity. You find the answer that has always been waiting. Consider the final twist of this lesson. The answer that speaks through silence is also deeply personal. It cannot be handed to you. It cannot be summarized in a quote or a book. Each person's silence is unique, shaped by their experiences, their fears, their dreams. The monk doesn't give you a formula. He gives you the method. He provides the conditions for revelation: patience, presence, openness. The rest is yours to discover. Imagine holding a seed in your hand. You can read about how it grows. You can talk about growth endlessly. But until you plant it, nurture it, and wait, the potential remains unrealized. Silence is the soil. Reflection is the water. Awareness is the sunlight. The answer blooms only in the environment you cultivate within yourself. What does this mean for your life? Perhaps it means that you no longer need to chase every external validation, every fleeting piece of advice, every trending solution. Perhaps it means that the greatest insights come when you step back, breathe, and allow your own mind to surface the truth. Perhaps it means that the world outside is not the teacher, it is the reflection. The teacher is within, patient, silent, waiting for you to notice. And here lies the most profound empowerment. You already carry the capacity to understand, to act wisely, to respond authentically. The monk is not stronger than you. He has simply learned one thing that makes all the difference. He listens, he observes, he respects the language of silence. And you can do the same. So, how do you start? Begin with small pauses. A few minutes each day where you do not reach for your phone. Do not engage in conversation. Do not fill the void with sound. Sit. Breathe. Watch. Listen. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Thoughts will rush in, emotions will surface. That is the sign that the process is working. Gradually extend the time. Notice how your mind reacts. Notice what surfaces. Notice what dissipates. The insights will come sometimes subtly, sometimes with striking clarity. And over time, you will find that the noise of the world no longer dictates your inner peace. You will discover a rhythm, a clarity, a depth that feels like your own. This is the power of the answer that speaks through silence. Remember, this is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming awake. It is about creating space for truth to emerge. Every moment of stillness, every conscious pause, every mindful observation is a step toward that awakening. Life will continue to challenge you, to test you, to throw unexpected storms. But within the silence, you develop resilience, insight, and clarity. You cultivate a presence that is unshaken by external chaos. You become like the monk under the ancient tree, steady, observant, attuned to the subtleties of life, capable of hearing what is unspoken, capable of seeing what is hidden, capable of acting with wisdom when the moment demands it. And here's the ultimate realization. The world does not owe you clarity. People will continue to speak, to offer opinions, to distract, to demand. But clarity, peace, and understanding are not found in the words of others. They are discovered in your own silence. They are earned in your patience, in your willingness to confront yourself, in your courage to simply be present. The monk's lesson is both simple and profound. The answers are always there. You just need the quiet to hear them. You just need the stillness to see them. You just need the patience to allow them to unfold. Now, imagine carrying this lesson forward. Every time life feels overwhelming, every time confusion clouds your mind, return to the silence. Not as an escape, but as a tool. Not as avoidance, but as engagement. Sit, breathe, observe, reflect. Allow the answers to arise naturally. Notice the subtle shifts in your perception, the gentle unfolding of insight, the quiet guidance that was always within you. You'll begin to realize that action without reflection is like sailing without a rudder. The world will continue to move at its chaotic pace, but you will move with intention, with awareness, with clarity. The silence will empower you. The silence will teach you. The silence will transform you. So today, I challenge you to embrace silence. Not for a moment, not for a day, but as a practice, as a commitment to yourself, as a promise to listen, to observe, to awaken. The answers you seek are not lost, they are simply waiting for the space you create. The monk isn't holding secrets. He is demonstrating the power of attention, presence, and receptivity. And if you allow yourself to follow this path, even just for a few minutes each day, you will discover a wisdom that no noise can drown out, a clarity that no confusion can obscure, a peace that no chaos can destroy. The voice of silence is waiting. Will you listen? And if this message resonated, if it stirred even a small part of your mind or heart, I invite you to continue this journey with us. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you notice in the quiet moments of your day? How did reflection reveal a truth you had overlooked? Hit like to honor the practice of pausing, of listening, of discovering. And subscribe to Echoes of Greatness to continue exploring the lessons that transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. The mundane into the profound, the silence into a language that speaks louder than words. Remember, the answer has always been inside you. The silence was merely waiting for you to hear it. Take a breath, create the space, and step into the wisdom that is already yours.